Marcia makes and sells handcrafted picture frames in two sizes, small and large. It takes her 2 hours to make a small frame and 3 hours to make a large frame. The shaded triangular region shown below is the graph of a system of inequalities representing weekly constraints Marcia has in making the frames. For making and selling S small frames and L large frames, Marcia makes a profit of $30S plus $70L dollars. Marcia sells all the frames she makes. The weekly constraint represented by the horizontal line segment containing 9-2 means that each week Marcia makes a minimum of which of these? Well, that horizontal line segment containing the point 9-2 means she makes a minimum number of large frames. The vertical axis is the number of large frames. So that line segment containing 9-2 means she makes a minimum of 2 large frames. Correct answer here is letter F. Same situation, different question. For every hour that Marcia spends making frames in the second week of December each year, she donates $3 from that week's profit to a local charity. This year, Marcia made 4 large frames and 2 small frames in that week. Which of the following is closest to the percent of that week's profit Marcia donated to the charity? So we're going to look at the profit she made, we're going to look at the amount she donated, and then figure out what the percentage is. S is the small frames, L is the large frames. 30S plus 70L, that is the profit. She made 2 small frames and 4 large frames, so the profit would be 30 times 2 plus 70 times 4, 60 plus 280, that is $340. So $340 profit. Now let's look at the time. It's 2 hours to make a small frame, 3 hours to make a large frame. She made 2 small frames, so 2 times 2, it's 4 hours. She made 4 large frames, so 3 times 4, that is 12 hours. 12 hours and 4 hours, it's 16 hours total. Remember, she's donating $3 for every hour that she works. So 3 times 16, that is 48. So she's donating $48. She has a profit of $340. To figure out the percentage, divide 48 by 340, and that would be a percentage. If you divide that, it's 0.141. That is a percentage of 14%. Letter C. Again, same setup, different question. What is the maximum profit Marcia can earn from the picture frames she makes in 1 week? Well, the maximum profit would be only selling large frames and not selling any small frames, because large frames turn more of a profit. So only selling large frames and no small frames means she would sell 0 small frames and 8 large frames, or this point right here. So turning the maximum profit, only making all large frames would create the maximum profit. That means she would sell 0 small frames and 8 large frames from this point right here. 70 times 8, that is $560. So the maximum profit she could make is $560, which is letter J. The determinant of a matrix with columns of AC and BD equals AD minus CB. So what's going on there is you're multiplying down diagonally. Start in the top left corner with the A and multiply down diagonally, that's AD, and then subtract the up diagonal. Start in the bottom left corner, multiply up diagonally, C times B, that is this CB. So the determinant of a matrix is found by a 2x2 matrix, which is what this is, 2 rows, 2 columns. Starting in the top left corner, multiplying down diagonally, in this case it's AD, and then subtract the up diagonal, which is starting in the bottom left corner and multiplying up diagonally. In this case, that's CB. So AD minus CB. What must be the value of x for the matrix with columns of x and x and 8 and x to have a determinant of negative 16? Well, to get that, again, multiply down diagonally. Start in the top left corner, multiply down diagonally x times x, that is going to be x squared, and then subtract the up diagonal. Start in the bottom left corner, multiply up diagonally, x times 8 is 8x. We're taking the down diagonal, x times x, that's x squared, subtracting the up diagonal, x times 8, which is 8x. X squared minus 8x is equal to negative 16. But we have to find the value of x. That is a quadratic equation. There are many ways to solve a quadratic equation. I think the easiest here would be to get everything to one side and factor it into 2 binomials. So add 16 to each side. You have x squared minus 8x plus 16 is equal to 0. And then to factor that into 2 binomials, the first terms of the 2 binomials make this x squared when you multiply them. So they are x and x. The second terms of the 2 binomials We'll multiply to make this last term and add to make this middle coefficient. So the second terms of the two binomials multiply to make 16 and add to make negative 8. And those second terms would be negative 4, negative 4. Negative 4 times negative 4 is 16. And negative 4 plus the negative 4, that makes negative 8. Now, you have these two things multiplying together to equal 0. If you have two or more things multiplying together to equal 0, that means either one of them could be 0, but it's the same thing here. So normally we would set each one equal to 0, but these are the same. So just set one of them equal to 0. Set x minus 4 equal to 0, and you do end up with x equals 4. So the value of x that makes this determinant negative 16 is 4. Letter E. A formula for finding the value $8 of P dollars invested at I% interest compounded annually for n years is A equals P times 1 plus 0.01I to the nth power. Which of the following is an expression for P in terms of I, N, and A? When it says which of the following is an expression for P in terms of I, N, and A, that means you're going to simply solve this equation for P. I know when you first read this, it's very complicated, but this one's really easy. All you have to do is get P by itself. Notice P is multiplied by that set of parentheses. So to move that set of parentheses to the other side, just divide by it. You're dividing each side by the quantity 1 plus 0.01I to the nth power. If you divide each side by that, you end up with P equals A over the quantity 1 plus 0.01I to the nth power. Letter K, easy.